Our focus over here is on the Beinoni. The individual has mastery over thought, speech, and action. Perfect in behavior, but not perfect soul. I mean, no one's perfect but God, but not on the inner makings in the feelings of the heart. Feelings of the heart can be a huge challenge. So much so that there can be a stone of heart. And the Beinoni owns his life or her life to such a degree that they want to make sure that that stone of heart is dealt with and that the negativity from within is crushed or humbled. Maybe a better word for a better understanding. Humble the negative force from within. Negative force doesn't want you to feel a connection to God. Your animal soul wants you to feel comfortable, feel good about yourself. Feel good about yourself? That's definitely not a godly thing. Do good is, right? That doesn't mean you feel bad about yourself, by the way. No. We're talking about joy here. Joy is not an emotion. Feeling good about yourself is an emotion, self-satisfied. Having a joyful attitude, that's a very different thing. That's a mindset. So where we're going with all of this is ultimately, when you really own whatever you need to own, then you're able to ultimately come out of that with real joy, with a real mindset, attitude, disposition of joy. And that's ultimately, well, we're not there yet. We're today going to be, deep into what it means to own your challenges, your negativity, to humble what's inside. And today's class, if there's any class that is not directly speaking to me and to you, it's today's class. I'll be quite frank and quite honest. Yet, there's some things here that we can take out of it that's going to be remarkable. It's going to be remarkable. So stay tuned. So in yesterday's class, we spoke about that if a Beinoni wants to break the negativity in their heart, it wants to really grow. So it can't be just for the current stuff that you have to look at, but the sins of youth that you need to take a look at. That's what we spoke about yesterday. So Alter Rebbe says that, well, if you've done all, if there was any grievous sins of youth that you've dealt with, and, you've cleansed sort of all that past, still, the Zohar says that you want to be what's called a Marad Chujbana, a master of accounts. What does a master of accounts means? So the metaphor is as follows. When you work for somebody, you clock in. You came 9, you left 5, or whatever the times are. You do your work, but you don't own it. Why don't you own it? Because it's not your job. I mean, you own your work, but you don't go the extra mile because it's not your business. When you own your own business, it's on your mind, not just 9 to 5. You're constantly engaged, right? It's not academic, whether there's a profit and loss. It matters to you. If you're working 9 to 5, it's somewhat academic what the profit and loss is. Same thing is with life. Many of us are not owners of our life, meaning it's academic whether, I did good, didn't do good, because in the end I want to feel good, so therefore I'm not taking every line on the profit and loss and see how I could have made a profit over here instead of losing. that's very demanding. I mean, you might have an overall great profit, but if you had a few losses over here, so someone who is a true Mara de Chujbenas, a true person of holding accountable everything, is going to see, well, 365 lines, 330 of them complete profit, done perfectly, but there are 30, less than 10%, big deal. If it's not your business, so then, big deal. You did good and you can feel good about it. But if it's your business and you want to improve the business, so you're going to look at those 30 lines, and what are you going to do? There wasn't maximized profit over here. Not only that, there was even a loss over here. How can I improve that? That's what you're going to do. That's what really successful business people do, right? Non-successful or semi-successful, what do? Hey, we did good. Look where you could do better, because overall we did tremendously, as a matter of fact. But a truly successful person in business is looking at every detail of how they can improve. I'm not talking here, and this is a metaphor, so don't get carried away with the metaphor and say, oh yeah, such people, who wants to work for them? It's not the point. Who wants to be such a person? You can never be satisfied. And that's not the point. The point is, it's a metaphor. They're right, we shouldn't be satisfied in our lives if we can improve. If there's a place we can improve, even though overall we're great, we need to improve. That's a master of accounts, what the Alter Rebbe is speaking about over here too, right? So that is quite something. I think that's something that we can apply to our lives. But the Alter Rebbe goes further now. And in that master of accounts, what does that mean? To take stock of not just the last year, 365 days, and there's 330 days that were great, but 35 days that, No. He says to make an account of your entire life, of all your thoughts, all your words, and all your actions. That's how many of them were not really towards God. Not the whole day's, profit and loss. Every moment's profit and loss. Now, I'll be very frank and honest. I'm not exactly clear how the Alter Rebbe is expecting that from us. And even a Beinoni, I don't get it. Because I understand a righteous person who can know every thought that entered their head from when they were born. Tzaddikim, righteous people, eons beyond us. And I want to come back to that later. But from the day I was born, every thought, speech, and action that was not towards God, the vitality that I received was not from Kedusha, from God's holiness, from his countenance, from his face, as it were, inwardness, from his inner desire to give me vitality, but it came from Klipa, Sitra Achra, from the other side, from negativity. So my take, and this is, my take on this is that it's about, you're not going to go think about every thought. You're not going to get there. Too many. And it's really about recognizing, wow, there's a lot of klipa that I have allowed in my life, and sitra acher in my life, in my thought, speech, and action. And that's humbling. Just that notion is humbling. And maybe that's something that we can apply to us. And again, what happens when you will have a negative thought or say something that is inappropriate? At that moment, you're getting vitality from klipa. Not only are you getting vitality from a negative force, but you are subservient to it. You're subjugated to it. And when you think about that, the whole point of this is to humble yourself, or humble rather your animal soul and body, that it shouldn't be in control to such a degree that your heart is heavy. El Tebbe now goes a step further. Not only is there a way to humble yourself about thinking about that your whole life, there's so much klipa. Again, very important. If we have fulfilled 28 chapters till now, and we're now in the holding by the 29 chapters, there's one thing. But I don't think we have properly fulfilled everything till now. So do not start with this today. The notion of it, yes, but not the specifics. Because now he goes a step further, your dreams. Now, before we get into dreams, just for our dreams, but a righteous, holy person, you know what it means, righteous and holy? Every dream is holy. Every dream is a communication, is a message, is a teachings. Just like all of life is for the holy and the righteous, even their dreams. And actually, their dreams might even be more. The Arizal lived in the 1500s in Tzfat, the great Kabbalist. He once slept a Shabbos afternoon for an hour, and he comprehended 70 years of Torah learning. Why? Because on a conscious level, they say we perceive 7 parts compared to subconsciously we are grasping at that time 1,000,000 parts. So do the math. 1 hour of sleep that you're going to grasp the 1,000,000 parts compared to the 7 parts. How much more are you going to get? How much more are you going to get? That's righteous, holy people. Their sleep? Whoa. Wow. That righteous people that have passed on, we've heard so many stories of righteous people passing and coming to righteous people that are living and giving them direction, giving them teachings. So we're talking about a different kind of person. We, however, when we sleep and we have dreams, they're crazy. They don't make sense. And I don't even suggest you try to make sense out of them, because we're not righteous. As a matter of fact, don't even give credibility to something that's really negative. By giving credibility to it, you're allowing that reality to take hold on some spiritual level. Don't do that. Don't do that. Sometimes I even suggest don't even express it. Yeah, don't even express the dream to somebody else. I had this crazy dream. The Alter Rebbe says that these dreams, as a matter of fact, that they are tormenting us at times because they're the vanity of the affliction of the spirit. Why is that? Because we're not holy. So our soul doesn't descend on high to have dreams, communication that is of a divine sort. Because we're connected to negativity. So therefore, when we're asleep, where our conscious mind isn't operating at that time, right? So on the subconscious level, remember the righteous person has transformed that. We haven't. And therefore, we're going to be tormented by our dreams. They're going to be crazy. Why? Because we're rooted into negativity down here of klipa, Sitra Acher. We can't descend the mountain of God because we're not righteous. It's okay. The Alter Rebbe is not condemning us by this. The point of this is, when you think about it, we realize, whoa, there's a lot of things I could humble about me. Come on, let's not going to go overboard. Well, it depends. You just want to feel good about yourself, so you won't go overboard. But if you want to really own your life, which is not an easy thing, you want to really be the true entrepreneur of life, then yeah, even your dreams will be a way that you could look at yourself and say, that negative force within me, phooey. It's negative. It needs to be eradicated. It needs to be brought down and humbled. Well, we're going to explain more about that in coming classes, right? That, reflect upon it and humble that negative side. That's the point over here. Why are we doing this? It's because we want our heart to truly be full of joy and full of love. And when we are kind of stuck in a place and not moving forward, the spark isn't alive in us. We need, as being owners of our life, to deal with that. That's where we're at. And with that, we're going to continue. I know now that on Rosh Chodesh Adar, what do we know and who is ready to come on to share? John, that I know now that no neutral thoughts, they are either holy or originate. Sitrache, recognized in the klipa in my life, helps me to humble my animal soul and its inflated ego and thunderous voice. Oh, excellent. Beautiful. Excellent. Anybody ready to come on? Yesterday we had a very wonderful visit. A wonderful visit. And today, Lara, I know now that I must not succumb to the negativity and practice humility. Excellent. Brandon, I know now that it's not wise to share your most awesome crazy dreams or any actuality. Yeah, it's because you don't want to, when you express it, you give reality to it. Not necessarily a good thing. Some things you just don't want to give a reality to. Anybody else, please? Anybody ready to come on? Sarah Malka, Tova, Stan. Who else? Anybody else? All right. Anybody new? Please. Eugenia, I know now that taking stock of my thoughts and actions and realizing how many of them came from the negative side is a humbling experience that should inspire me to stay away from negativity. Very well said. Very well. Bachi, I know now that I should post any attention to negative dreams. Yes. Anna? Thank you. Ah, John says, makes a good comment. This is why advertising is so effective in Western culture, for it appeals to the subconscious. Very true. Very true. Okay. I'm not sure about Emmett, what you're saying. Why say kulam tov, kulam shalom? Is this always good? Well, I'm not certain what you mean. That is always good. What is always good? Not clear on that. All right. Okay, folks, we're going to conclude today's class. Wishing everybody a good Chodesh, a good month. First day of the month of Adar. The first day of Rosh Chodesh Adar. Tomorrow will be the first day of the month of Adar. And Mishnichnas Adar Marvin B'Simcha, when Adar enters, we increase in joy. So we got to increase in our joy. Wishing a good Chodesh, a good Erev Shabbos, and a wonderful Shabbos. And God willing, we will continue our conversation. Have a wonderful day.